Woo!
So the first thing I want to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
walking out of there,
Yeah.
is I want to go to a fence.
Alright, yeah. Considering your background and everything, you can find a fence.
I'm gross.
Yeah.
She's gross, but I'm just gonna lead her to a fence. And I imagine I'm not very talkative at this point either.
Yeah, yeah. You lead her. Katlyn, maybe for the first little while, doesn't realize that you're leading her to a
Yeah.
to a fence.
But yeah, she's relatively trusting at this point.
But you managed to get into one of the many fences in the city, and people who take stolen goods off your hands and whatnot. And of course, you get given shit because you smell like shit.
Yeah, listen, buddy. I know what this is. I grew up in sewers, effectively. Let's just cut to the chase here. And I put the candelabra there, and I'm like, 5 gold, 5 silver. That's all I need. 5 gold, 5 silver. Call it even.
Yeah. The guy like looks like, yeah, good enough, and like fishes out the coins reasonable and takes it away to do the inspections afterwards, because that's like, yeah, if someone comes up like, I want this much and it's probably below what you normally pay, you're like, sure. So yeah, happily transfers for that. It's like, pleasure doing business. Now get the hell out of here. You're stinking up the place.
Yeah, fuck you too, of course. It's like kindly.
Yeah, there's definitely an honor among thieves in this city. They know.
And to which case, I imagine we use somewhat the sewers leaving here because we want to avoid
you might as well
many of those bad people as possible.
It's like how your escape plan was. We can either go out this way and use the guards, but we'll have to see the gates, or we can take the sewers. Well, at this point, you've already been in the sewers, so you go through the sewers. Go ahead and give me perception rolls.
Perception. Did you need a survival as well?
Yeah, give me a survival for navigating down here. Occasionally, not all the time, every 10 minutes or so walking, you notice patches of purple mushrooms.
So long as they don't react to the smell or whatever of us, we're good.
So it takes a couple of hours, and you'll probably be... You actually won't be making any small talk. You'll be leaving, and when Katlyn's like, oh, where are we going? It's like, out.
Yeah. It's one of those, like... And I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm being rude.
Yeah.
If she asks a second time or a third time, I was like... Could you please?
She wouldn't. She's used to working with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And she's just like, yeah, we're going out. That's all I need to know.
So this is a way out of the city that's not only known by Slade, but Slade knows very, very well. Getting out of Goldport undetected is not impossible. You can get into anywhere undetected. Give me an army and I'll penetrate the bitch, or whatever the whole fancy line is. It's not the line. I made it a lot worse than it was.
Give me an army and I'll penetrate the bitch.
Close enough.
Okay.
But you, Slade manages to get you out of the city. You sort of come out of a storm drain that's at the bottom of one of the outer walls that's in an area that is sort of connected to outer villages of outer Goldport, but not close enough to any buildings. I will make you both make stealth checks, but you're very unlikely to fail. It's basically just like, by chance, a patrol goes past.
Don't say that. You know I'm going to get a nat 1 now. Oh,
no, you're fine.
There wasn't one.
There wasn't one. There was
You
also a
easily
2.
start going going back into society, and I imagine you head back to an inn.
No, straight to a lake or pond or stream or river or
give me a
bay
survival
or
roll,
ocean.
but yeah, you know your way around this part.
Ah! Straight into a guard's tower.
Straight into a sewer, more like.
Straight,
you know
just
your way
fall
around
back.
here. Roll a raw roll.
Yeah, you find a river and you think it's nice and clean, so you jump in and then realise that all the refuse from the city is coming out.
Yeah, it's just more sewer. It's just a bigger sewer. It's an outdoor sewer. Great.
No,
That's what my
so
sewer
what did we
needed,
come
a night
across?
sky view.
What did we come across with the one?
So you're leaving through the town. You've got to go through this little bit of town to get to forest on the other side, and that's not unreasonable. And you're going at night, but fuck do you smell? And it might just be the way the wind goes, but that smell is carrying through this village, and you see windows opening and people waking up and people being like, you hear like, gah! Like, you hear people reacting. Your stealthy exit of the city is less so stealthy. And
I know my 25 is a 2.
25 and roll right into a 1.
I'm beelining it so hard towards water.
Yeah.
I'm just.
You're just like, and you'll probably realize when people are starting to recognize that like something's up, because there's no godly reason for a smell like this. You probably go from casually to running to like, Katlyn, run, and at that point, like whatever local guard force in the town do like in a nearby little keep is probably a bit too much, like a little outpost tower. Like one of the ones in Age of Empires before you upgrade them. Like, they're escaping from the wall! They came from under the wall! And, like, blows a horn. And, go ahead and both give me stealth rolls again. You have a chance, but they will get some attacks off on you because you guys are,
hold on.
Yes?
I
Delric?
think there's a different way of doing this.
Is there now?
We could stealth, try to get away so they don't notice us.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, should we keep running or should we tell them that we just were inside somebody's basement?
Just keep damn running.
Sometimes honesty is the best option.
But last time I was honest about what happened in front of a bunch of guards, I got thrown in jail.
That's
okay.
Hilarious. Slade, you take an arrow. Doesn't slow you that much. You take an arrow for 4 damage.
Oh.
Katlyn isn't even on here, so I'm going to attack Melody because I have no shame.
Oh yeah, my AC is back down to 18.
Really? You teased me so much about that when I did that to Aaron.
Well, I assumed that.
But they can't see.
Shield
We didn't have a corpse on the battlefield of a long dead companion. Just saying. It's a little different. And that, wait, your AC is 18?
Yeah.
You get hit for 8 damage.
Was it going to miss a 20?
Yeah, it would have missed a 20. It was an 18, which is why. Well, it was going to miss. Wait, your AC is an 18? Oh, okay. For 8 damage, it's like whoever was in that guard tower was good.
Of course. Of course.
But you do manage to get back into the protection of the forest, and I imagine at this point Slade would say something else like, no, I know forests. We'll be fine.
Like, listen, I just keep walking. Like,
And you can quickly go, and yeah, you see the occasional torches of the tiny little bit of guard force there trying to chase. But that's part of the reason why Slade leaves the city this way, because the guards, if there are guards, there's only like 3 of them. So it's mostly fine. So you manage to find your way through the forest and to a babbling brook where you can start washing the stink
I literally, dropping my backpack as I go, just walk straight in. Boots and everything included. Just walk into the water. Just, peeling off layers, scrubbing them, wringing them out, slopping them onto a rock nearby, just straight down naked. It's like cleaning stuff off, just like, the scratch of the arrow hit me or got stuck in or whatever. It's like,
I would go like round a bend if there is one, or like behind a rock.
Try to save some decency, yeah.
Yeah.
Reasonable. Like within shouting distance, but without out of sight. That's reasonable.
Yeah.
So, Katlyn, Katlyn?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Don't worry, I'm not gonna. Just.
Well, I'm not too worried. It happens, but just might as well go make the effort as we can.
Okay. Like that. Once that awkwardness ends, enjoying my short rest while sitting in the water.
Yep, definitely a short rest.
7 and
because I will do a couple of rolls to see if the guards find you, but it's like every hour.
16 health, healing me all the way up to 25 out of 19. So 19 health. Awesome. So. I'm like, this was not a good day, Katlyn.
Well, we got what we came for, and we more or less got out in one piece. It could have been worse.
I didn't say we failed. I said it wasn't a good day.
That's true enough, I suppose. But got to look on the bright side of these things. As long as we accomplish the mission, after the failure of the last one, I'm just looking for success. Really, I'm not too worried about what form it comes in.
Who were you working for when you failed last time? It was somebody else from House of Gast.
Katlyn pauses, like because we're still in basically shouting at each other. Katlyn pauses for a moment. The Lady Pandora.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you understand now why I'm desperate to succeed at this mission. Because if I don't and I go back there, my head might well end up separated from my shoulders.
Katlyn, if you succeed this one and fail the other one, does one really wash the other?
No, I don't expect it to, but it might at least bring enough goodwill that I won't immediately be killed or chucked out on my behind.
Certainly not going to have the ability to pardon me anytime soon.
Well, it's something I will continue to work on, and that's why I've done this mission. I think the other companions have gone to the Four Winds. They've separated out. They've just abandoned Aradia. I couldn't do that. Aghast and working towards this oath is my everything. So I had to complete this, if nothing else.
Well, doing like a dead man's float.
Yeah.
Like lying there. I'll be like, and kind of gesturing back towards the town. I'd be like, well, I don't think they really like me right now. What do you say we make sure the road isn't too quiet or too eventful?
Yeah, by all means.
So, basically, you plan to leave and travel back together, more or less?
Yeah, I think we'd probably, after we're done like taking our short rest, travel probably 2 or 3 more hours out of the area before we find the camp outside.
Sleep somewhere, camp outside. You take time to, Katlyn, examine Layla's spellbook. A spellbook is a match of someone's personality. For what little you've realized of Layla, it makes sense. Yeah, there's a
Does
padlock
she open
on
it?
No, she wouldn't.
No, she would just examine the outside. There's a padlock on it, so you couldn't actually open it without picking the lock, which would be entirely possible for Slade. But it's like a beautiful thing of dark red leather and very fashionable. There's a little bit of a symbol on it, which you do recognize slightly from being something to there. You're not picking open the spellbook.
I was just kidding. But,
I know.
Oh god!
I know.
I was kidding, but oh my god!
So
you rolled that 5 times with a +4 mod. I rolled it once with a +2 and got better.
you're not doing it. So you camp and you get to know each other. And Katlyn might be quietly thankful for someone to travel with. And so you start traveling back with a success. Katlyn, do you send word of your success?
Oh yeah, I would send word, definitely.
So you wait until you're at the next place of civilization. You'd probably actually go into Lichvale, which would be the next place you'd be able to send. You'd be able to pay a couple of gold to send a message, which would be something sure. If you explain to Valvorian, he might pay you back, but it probably won't.
Well, I'm not worried.
I want to have an RP moment with her anyway.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
No, after she's done doing her thing.
You're sending a letter off.
I would send the letter off. I'm not worried about getting repaid for it, to be honest. I just want to let them know that it succeeded, so they don't take my head the second I walk in.
All right. Lichvale is certainly a place you can go and get this service, and you do. You know, Lichvale is fucking weird. It's like a functioning town inside a ruined city. And it's very strange. And you have vague memories of this place, Katlyn, and it's nothing like this. The walls were together, not cracked. And the guards outside, super weird. You never had a conversation with them, but there were always guards sort of just lumbering around outside. It was super strange. But, none of them gave you any trouble.
Do they remind me of Thorak?
No, none of them were dwarves.
True.
So at one point in time, we were probably sitting there and enjoying a mug. Her enjoying it. quicker and with deeper draws than me, but still enjoying a mug. I'd sit there at one point in time. I'll pull out the small purse or whatever that I specifically put the coin in that I got from the candelabra, and I'll throw it on the table in front of her.
I would just look at it and raise an eyebrow.
It's the money from your the information that you needed about that guy. He paid for it.
Oh, well, thank you. I would pick up the pouch, put it away. But if you're paying that back, then at the very least allow me to get the food and drinks tonight and a room for you for a bit, because you've already paid for that for me for a couple of nights. So.
Well, you never got me that other round, so...
Quite. I had to signal, another round for both of us sort of thing.
By the way, I mean, I'm more than happy to travel with you back to Aradia. It would be nice to get to the lands with a slightly better odor to them. But speaking of a better odor, you know I can't walk into the city any more than you probably should walk into the city. But hey, could you do me a favor? And I tossed forward the another satchel that you saw me putting a bunch of stuff in. As long as it's not going to damage my standing in Aradia, sure. Like I said, I tossed forward the satchel that I put a bunch of stuff in, and I say, she got displaced from her home. That's pretty shitty. These look like they're probably the best things that I saw there from her house. She might want them. Reminder of what she lost, and probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure, I can do that by all means. That's very honourable of you, to be honest. When I saw you take back Candelabra, I must admit I thought for worse of you, but that's very good of you.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to make him pay for the information we acquired about him, but he was kind of an ass, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did seem to sort of sweep Layla under the bus.
Hey, listen, all people, rich or poor, deserve respect, but they must earn it, and that guy was an ass.
I can't object too much to that. But so yeah.
And scene. So, how close to Aradia do you travel with Slade? Would you go into the city if she asked, or into the country?
No, I would not go to the city. If I remember correctly, the dwarven city that we went to at the party before, whatever it was called, was only like 4 or 5 days away.
Yeah, depending on travel. I mean, Katlyn has a horse. You don't. So it would be, this travel would be long. But yeah, you could go back to Crimson Mountain or
Crimson Mountain. Thank you. I couldn't remember what it was called. I would go back to Crimson Mountain, or even closer if there was a decent spot that Katlyn thought would be.
There's Rathold, which she'd mentioned, which is a fairly sizable town near it.
I could probably get lost in Rathold, so that's a good thing.
Big enough to, like, small villages are not the best place for rogues. But a town of that size. So you travel slowly. You don't have horses, but you also, I don't know whether it's very conscious, but both of you are kind of going towards the Hangman's Noose in one way or another.
Just why I don't leave the Dwarven lands.
Exactly. You go to Rathold. You maybe try to slightly convince Katlyn, but she's not gonna say yes. And you say your goodbyes, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell her I'm going to be around here for maybe 2 weeks or so. I really need new boots and don't have the coin to get them. So I'll gamble or come up with the money somehow before I go, before I re-blister these feet.
How much do you need? I mean, as a personal thank you.
No. You're going to need the best lawyer you can get your hands on.
Thank you. Well, I hope we get a chance to meet again. It's been a pleasure to work with you.
It has been. And when you speak to that old bastard, you make sure he knows that I helped you, because where you need your money, I need his.
Yeah, of course. I couldn't have done it without you. I'll make that quite clear.
Okay.
He'll actually give her a hug goodbye. Like, I imagine she's going for like a firm handshake. And like, yeah, but give her like a big hug.
When he goes in like that, she would hug him back.
Yeah, that's sweet. So you leave. you start traveling back towards Aradia. You're going probably faster now. You're on the horse. Slade stays in Rathold in the Dwarven lands for how long, and then who knows where he'll be again. But can you go back to Aradia? When you're entering the city, and the city is vast, you're not immediately arrested or anything like that. In fact, you make it back to Aghast Estate quite easily, and I assume you sneak in through the semi.
Oh, yeah, I would go to Balrog first.
When you actually enter the estate, Varorian is walking towards you, and he does a motion that some of you might know, where he sort of walks towards you and sort of turns you around and takes you in arm and starts walking with you in arm. And then while he does that, he puts his hand out. So he's got you like that and puts his hand out.
Yeah. Give him the spell book, and I'd also put the little pouch with the little bit of money and belongings as well.
He kind of looks at the pouch like, but nods at the spell book and's like, "You did good, Katlyn. I was talking to the Longseers, our friends. I thought you wouldn't make it back, but you did. So I made sure that I'd meet you before anyone else did, because you got into some trouble. Which is why I said you should always work for me, but this is neither near here nor there. So come on, just keep walking."
A mistake I have learnt from Sir Valrorian.
Oh, yes, that's what our long lives... He sort of pauses. You learn from your mistakes in life. Some of them. Sometimes, very rarely, and he kind of looks back. Like, you get forgiveness for them. And he keeps walking. And you can notice quite easily, Aradia, like the back of your hand, he's walking you towards the center of the city. The inner circle, it's raised. It's like raised wooden walkways towards the grand emerald palace in the center. And he walks you closer and closer to the center. And closer.
She's looking worried, but like resolved. She doesn't know what's going on. She probably thinks this is more likely to be some sort of major trial or something. Or that's what she thinks. So she's looking apprehensive, but like still, I will accept my fate, sort of.
He's leading you for many hours towards closer and closer to the Emerald Palace at the top, the palace of the King of Aradia. And then he walks you in, and you don't go to any courtroom or anything. You go through beautiful, beautiful forests that are enclosed in these walls, private forests, until you notice where he's taking you. You're not going to a courtroom.
Wait, you're telling me that they build, like, guillotines inside the trees?
No, you're not being taken to a courtroom.
To the guillotines built into that's fucking cool.
You're being taken to a barracks.
When it chops your head off, it decomposes in the grass and feeds the
trees. Feeds the trees? I mean, that's smart. But that's not where you're going. You're going to a barracks.
Sir Valrorian?
Well, if you continued working for me, you would continue being a target. If you become a Knight of Aradia by taking the Way of the Wise, then you will be not above the law, but above Lady Pandora. And he sort of pats you on the back, and you see him go over to one of the other Knights of Aradia. And these aren't the Royal Guard. These are the Knights of Aradia. Knights who have taken the Way of the Wise. What she dreams of becoming, a paladin of the crown, of the Emerald King. And she goes up to him, and you can see he's like very carefully giving him money. Like 1 platinum coin, 2 platinum coins, like a significant amount of money. And he sort of like does take it, and then this old elf goes over, and one with like a scar down the eye and one white eye goes over and is like, "Katlyn Halen, it's time for you to take your oaths," and starts walking you away. And that
she's basically slack-jawed at this point, like.
And that's where Katlyn's story ends for now. We will see most likely both Slade and Katlyn again at some time. Slade because he was a great character, and also the whole idea is like every character you see for a moment in Jarviskjir might come back, because I'm that kind of DM. Has a very, very big Word document with names. And Katlyn, of course, Katlyn's going to come back one day. But maybe with a
I'll
little
bring
more
her
power.
back forcibly if
With
necessary.
a little more power. You all thought she was going to die. But, you know, Valrorian got her back because he's actually likes Katlyn. So, and Katlyn finished her quest, which is good.
Yay.
So, that's that. Ending early, which is great. So, Scott can go and itch his horrible, horrible wounds. And we should be back to normal next week. Hopefully. But let's not talk about next week now. Let's talk about... Ian, who are you? How are you? How are you doing?
I am a random internet stooge dude. I am on Twitter as Arvine with a triple E in the middle, and I will often be hanging around Ollie's streams as well. If you want to ask anything about Jarviskjir, about my characters, Katlyn, Hayden, and Melody, feel free to drop me a line.
Melody
Is Melody.
Okay, good. I thought I forgot about her.
Don't worry, she'll be back next week.
She'll be back next week.
But yeah, hit me up if you want to talk to. But I'm much less interesting in terms of, sort of what I do than Ollie and Scott, because they're both awesome DMs and streamers, and I'm just a random player.
But you made Katlyn so lovable that I knew I had to explore the other side of her story at some point. Otherwise, people would be real.
Well, I hope I get a chance to bring her back because I enjoy playing her. So maybe
it'll be
at some
interesting
point
to
in the
see how
future
she changes after getting her dream. You know, the character's going to completely change. So, speaking about a complete character change, Scott, thank you for making a character on short notice for me.
That was my break. I expect compensation for working on my break. There's laws against this, Oliver. There's laws against this.
Not in a radio. Live a long life. You get a break when you die. When you trance.
It's funny, actually. Slade's a personality that I've played a bunch of times a long time ago. So it was nice to replay him with a slight change. Like, usually he doesn't give a shit about, like, this culture versus that culture. But he always has been an orphan. But it's like people identify pretty strong with their homelands in this world. So I was like, well, he's a half-elf and he's an orphan. Let's have him identify strong with Aradia. And it kind of worked out with the character that that Ian was playing. So I had a lot. Actually, this is probably one of the most fun sessions I've had as a PC in like a
you
long
really
time.
like small parties.
Well, I am like, to me, an ideal party's 3 people. 2 I prefer to 4. And I just, above 4 is it gets frustrating for me as a DM. I mean, as a PC, you just kind of like find your niche and stick to it, right? Yeah. So it was great because Ian and I, our characters have always been like it just Katlyn and Forak just did not mesh, and then Melody and Sally, sorry. They don't not get along. It's just they don't
they're
click.
the opposite ends of something.
Yeah.
But
they barely acknowledge each other.
Not in a bad way. They're just very different, which is great.
It's one of those, like, I know you're so different from me. There's nothing here, so I'm just gonna smile at you and maybe clink a teacup every once in a while.
And maybe, but like, if you threaten the forest, you'll get a spear pointed at your throat.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like they have such little. It was just so nice to actually be able to interact with Ian because I get to watch him as a PC, and it's a lot of fun. So I get to actually be a part of that in a positive way. Anyways, so that was really cool, and I was like very excited to see where Katlyn's story was going to go to because
I've wanted to do this since
we changed her story.
Yeah, I want to do this since. This was the quest that they were going to go on, and things are very similar. But I wanted to go back and because we decided to follow Gil and Vale because they're basically brothers at this point, because it made more sense. But I wanted to explore what Katlyn happened at one point in some way, and this was the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, no, it worked out. It worked out wonderfully. I very much enjoyed it. But who am I? I am Delric on all of the things except for Twitch, in which case I am Delric Master. So you can just find me at Delric. What are we doing this week? I mean, Lost Initiative tomorrow night is with me and my buddies. But Friday night, it's going to be a very fun session, isn't it, Ollie? 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on twitch.tv/DelricMaster. We are going to be playing in the first session where you guys have a boat on a motherfucking boat.
We own a boat. Well, we pilot a boat.
Yeah, you like are just going to destroy somebody else's boat is what it comes down to. It's going to be a lot of fun. So That's all I got. You know, I'm a person.
Great.
I poop.
I'm also a person, but I don't poop.
Well,
That's
I got
dirty. Dirty. So, if you enjoyed this is not the normal show. Usually we have more people. Usually we have my buddy Neil and our buddy Dean. Dean is sick. Neil was at work, but he did manage to check in and make fun of you guys. Actually, happy that you guys did so well. The whole idea of doing a different, what I'm calling Jarviskjir side quests when
Listen,
we don't have the full
I'm just saying,
party.
Neil is not the party favorite. Neil is the party least favorite. Let's just, and I don't mean Vale. Vale's a pretty cool guy.
You mean Neil?
I mean Neil.
Yeah, you,
is the
you're
least
right.
favorite.
I gotta say,
Okay?
Dean is I think Dean could cuddle pretty good, and that goes high on my channel.
We were saying before that potentially Vale was the main character of the plot. Nay. Arvine is the main character. I don't mean Melody. I don't mean Caitlyn.
Arvine.
I mean Arvine. The only one that shows up to every session on time for the whole session.
So we need
No problem.
But the
only problem that he ever had was he got his hair cut. And I like it. So sorry.
That's funny. But we will be doing this again. It's perfect for if we have two people and the main story doesn't make sense. But to do a very short notice Jarviskjir side quests, bigger and better ones if we know. I have several ideas in my mind, usually following a character. Like, we can honestly just see what happens with Slade. Because now Slade is a character, and people will be like, so I know some people in channel already be like, where's Slade? I want Slade. So we'll explore what happens with Slade. We can see what happens with other NPCs. We could even go as far as to have NPCs become PCs for a short time in very specific plots. And that'll not happen that often, but it's, you know, alternative to cancelling a show if we only have two people show up or something special's going on. So, what else do I do? Well, good question.
Oh, whoa. Who asked?
Not us. That's the end of the show. Good night.
No, I do art streams on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then afterwards I play The Sims. I have an alien baby in The Sims, but the art streams I do either commissions or random D&D stuff, and usually it rolls into this. And on Sunday I will be doing a game stream. What game is it? You'll find out on Sunday, won't you?
Mario Rabbids.
No, that's
From the
finished.
beginning. No, from the beginning.
All over again.
This time it's Luigi Rabbids.
Oh, it was Luigi Rabbids the whole time, man. As soon as Luigi was out there, I was playing the Luigi Bros. But I might do something on Saturday, but, you know, don't ever hold me to Saturdays, because Saturdays are a great day to sleep.
I thought they were called the Mario Brothers because one of them is Mario and the other
They're
one is
Mario,
Luigi.
Mario, and Luigi Mario. That is actually correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I'm not big into like Nintendo lore, but I was like, I think I know that.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Anyway, with that little tidbit of information, that's us for today. We'll see you next week. Or we won't. But we hope we will. We will. I hope we will. Oh. Bye. That's your lot.
Bye.